Hey guys, it's another episode of MotoManTV with me, Brian Makse, and MotoMan is still recuperating, so I'm here to drive this, the 2020 Lamborghini Aventador SVJ Roadster. This is my kind of thing. I honestly think it's a little too much car for MotoMan, so join me as we have a look at Lamborghini's latest Aventador. Here on MotoMan, we talk about pulling power. Yeah, it's pretty much endless. This car accelerates unbelievably quick. That has to do, of course, with the all-wheel drive, and that certainly enhances the car's performance when you're on the move. When you're parking, of course, and you've got the wheel cranked, the car tends to crab, and that's, of course, maybe a little embarrassing in valet parking situations, but overall, that all-wheel drive system enhances this car's performance. Shifting through the gears, as you can hear, is absurd. That said, this car has an automatic shifting mode in Strada, and it took me about 2 shifts to give up on that whole idea, and I immediately switched it over to Corsa, and then as soon as I determined I could customize the car's settings, I set the Ego mode to my settings, which is lightest steering, softest suspension, and crazy drivetrain. And the shifts in crazy drivetrain mode, or Corsa, are just ridiculous. Listen to this. What makes this Aventador SVJ and SVJ? Well, first, a little bit about the name. It stands for Super Veloce Iota, which traces its history back to the Miura. And that was a game changer for supercars. Arguably, the Miura was the first real supercar, and the SVJ was the hottest of them all. Lamborghini was looking to go racing in the Miura days. The proposed race car was covered under Appendix J in the FIA rulebook. J in Italian is pronounced Iota. Since then, Lamborghini only puts Iota on their most extreme cars. History lesson over. What makes this Aventador an SVJ is a comprehensive bit of engineering. The 6.5-liter V12 is tuned to make 760 horsepower, or 759 to be exact, and 531 pounds-feet of torque. The rest of the drivetrain and chassis is fully recalibrated. That includes all of the suspension settings, all-wheel drive, ABS traction control, and stability control systems. To me, the biggest change is the addition of Lamborghini's second-generation active aerodynamics, ALA 2.0 as they call it, and what's cool about it is that the splitter and the wing are fixed. More on that later. And like the Aventador S, there is rear-wheel steering, which helps keep the SVJ planted through corners and gives the driver exceptional confidence. Of course, this interior has been around for a while, and as some of you nerds know, it is using some of Audi's old technology, and in 2020, it is a bit outdated, at least ergonomically and somewhat technologically. The infotainment system still has Apple CarPlay, although you actually plug in your phone down here, but the rest of this interior is very much Lamborghini that you know and recognize. It is not the most intuitive layout by any stretch of the imagination, and even after 300 miles now, I am still not entirely comfortable at finding those buttons at the ease of a touch. Ergonomically, I do have to point out that the turn signal stalk is much lower on the left side of the steering column than you'd expect, and that, I guess that speaks to the age of the Aventador. It's not too bad. It does take some time to get accustomed to, but overall, not too bad. The sound system is basically inaudible, certainly for podcasts, and you're not going to want to listen to your finest music on this sound system, that's for sure. The seating position is more than acceptable, but I'd love to get the seat a little lower in the chassis, but that's about my only complaint. The pedals are laid out perfectly. The steering wheel does have a bit of adjustment, so you can set it up. What I really love about the ergonomics here is the fact that the shift paddles are attached to the column, not the steering wheel. And that I love. It makes living with this Aventador SVJ Roadster a little bit easier. With respect to visibility, you are pretty much left looking forward. What helps it dynamically, especially when you're at speed, is the fact that this has active aerodynamics. And we've seen that on other Lamborghini models like the Huracan Performante. On the instrument cluster, there's a little display that shows you what's going on aerodynamically, but what's really cool is this ALA vectors arrow from side to side. So if you're in a high-speed right-hand corner, it vectors arrow to the right side of the car because that's the side of the car that's unweighted. So it forces that aerodynamic downforce to the right side of the car to keep it planted. And there have been a couple of corners where I've actually felt it working. And yeah, we're not going to see that on video, but I am remarkably impressed with it, and I would love to try this on the racetrack to really feel the difference between the system working, not working, and how it enhances road holding as well as my confidence as a driver. It's time for the options game, and I know you guys love playing the options game. This is going to be a fun one. The base price of this Lamborghini Aventador SVJ Roadster is $573,966. That's where we start. Some of these options are hard to discern. So first one, for example, exterior detail and fixed air. I think that is some of the carbon fiber trim. That's $7,100. Now, what's really cool on this car is the carbon fiber hardtop. That's $5,600. I figured that should have been about 10 grand, but it's only $5,600. Mirror housings in shiny carbon fiber, $2,800. Style package, not quite sure what that is. It's $8,400. I'm sure Lamborghini's got that somewhere, but I can't discern what a style package is. SVJ logo, which you can see beside me, it's in the paint. And it is absolutely gorgeous. It's way under the clear. It is beautiful. This is not some tacked on graphics kind of nonsense. $8,400 as well. Electric and heated seats, and those seats are ridiculously hard. They're relatively comfortable, but I don't want to be in them for a really long time. $4,200. Internal cross stitching. I think that's some of the red stitching that you see throughout the interior. $1,400. Transparent protective, and I think this has got a clear wrap on it. That is $3,500, clearly from the factory. Interior logo, SVJ colored, $700. It's probably our least costly option. New rims, 20 and 21 inch, $5,200 over the base wheels. Travel package, and this is the best option. There's basically a little storage net inside the car and a cup holder, $1,100. Seat belts in Rosso, of course that's red, $1,800, worth every penny. Special color, and this is beautiful. I hope it comes through in the visuals. This is a gorgeous metallic red, and you ready for this? $14,800. The ad personam interior, which is basically their custom interior at Lamborghini, $14,700. The ad personam exterior, and I don't know what that is beyond the paint, haven't quite figured that out, that's $2,100. There is also the mandatory gas guzzler tax at $6,400 and destination charge of $36.95, which is actually pretty reasonable for the way they've got to handle these cars. Grand total, $667,661 for this gorgeous Lamborghini Aventador SVJ Roadster. Brakes on this Aventador SVJ Roadster are massive carbon ceramics, and given the mid-engine layout, this car brakes exceptionally well. There's very little weight transfer to that front axle. There's just enough to plant those front tires and give them enough bite. This car brakes as well as it accelerates. Never mind that, feel and modulation is just ridiculous. This Roadster has two hard panels, and I'm going to take them off for you. It's actually relatively easy, if a bit clumsy. On this car, those two panels are optionally made of carbon fiber, which perhaps makes them a little easier, but the exposed carbon fiber on the roof adds a ridiculous cool factor. For an Italian mark, I am shocked how easy it is to remove the panels and to reinstall them. They go on relatively easy. It's clear that they're engineered by Germans, not Italian, given the ease of installing them and removing them. That said, inside there's still, relatively decent headroom. Taller people struggle a little, and that's not my problem because I fit and I'm the driver, so I don't care. With respect to this Aventador SVJ Roadster's handling, they've made some changes, of course. It still has adaptive dampers. It's got the massive tires. We are on the bespoke Pirelli P0 Corsas. There is an optional set of Trofeo Rs if you're looking for more stick. They've stiffened up the anti-roll bars in this Roadster, and I think that's more to suit the additional weight and maybe to combat a little bit more chassis flex, even despite the fact that this cockpit and this cabin is a carbon fiber monocoque. It does lose a little bit of chassis rigidity. Not that you're going to see it in the video because cowl shake is an absolute minimum. What I will say is that this is the most sorted Aventador yet. I don't often find that approachability in hypercars, but this is one of those cars that I've discovered I can take right to its limits, maybe a little bit beyond, not that you're going to see that on video, and be really at home.
With only 800 of these being made and most of them getting some form of ad personam customization as this one did, you won't see them coming and going. They're pretty exclusive. Plus, I'd argue that the Roadster is the better choice because you can have your open air motoring and eat your coupe cake too. Ha, sorry, couldn't resist that one.
When we are buttoned up like this, we can, of course, lower that window and get some of that fantastic Lamborghini experience, but of course for our purposes, so you can hear me, I'm closing that back up. It's very much a coupe-like experience here, and given the ease of removing and replacing these roof panels, this is, to me, the better choice between the coupe and the Roadster. Thanks for watching this episode of MotoManTV with me, Brian Makse, filling in for our pal MotoMan, and we wish him a speedy recovery. Hope you liked this episode. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you have any questions about anything I didn't cover, definitely leave those below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. On this channel we have one ask, and that is to share this on social, so please do that, and we ask you that you share this on Reddit because we get a nice bump every time you do that, so please do that. We really, really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again next time.